All right, here we go. 3:04 on the Sports Animal. I'm Lance McAlister. Welcome aboard this Tuesday afternoon. How are we? A lot of ground to cover. Very little time to do it. We're checking out at 5:30 today in place of the Kentucky Wildcats versus the College of Charleston. Guest-wise, we're in search of Dan Horde, who we'll try to hook up with later on in the show, and his travels back to Cincinnati for tomorrow night's Bearcats game. We'll talk with UC interim football coach Pat Narduzzi, and we'll talk with you on a variety of issues.
Over the past 20 years, sports talk radio in Cincinnati has gone from a 3-hour show to a 50,000-watt station. One of the tops in the business is 1530 homer the Sports Animal's Lance McAlister. Lee Martin is just one of the many that tune in weekdays 3 to 6.
Basically, I work for a major beer distributor in the greater Cincinnati area. I drive around. So I'm in the car pretty much probably 80% of my day.
Whether it's the latest Bengals or Reds news, I Believe Wednesday, Who Am I, or the Fantasy Football Fix, Lee rarely misses the show.
Probably every sports buff, wakes up in the morning, or sports fan wakes up in the morning, instead of turning on Good Morning America or the Today Show, they'll turn on Sports Center, catch maybe that one clip that you did miss last night before you went to bed. But basically what you're getting old news pretty much. It's not up-to-date news. Whereas your sports talk radio, it's breaking, it's up to the minute, and things that are happening right now today.
To me, if I want people to invest in my show, I need to give them a reason to listen, then I have to give them reasons to hang around. And I think I do that by relating in as many different ways on as many different levels as I can. I'm just not a guy who's on for 3 hours every day. I've always been open about other parts of my life, my wife, my kids. Casey struggles with leukemia, and I think it's given people a reason to invest beyond just the guy who's on 3 to 6 into, hey, that guy sounds like I could sit on the bar stool and talk sports with him every day.
One of the biggest keys to Lance's success has been his ability to be a fan himself. Having grown up in the Queen City, his heart lies with the hometown teams. As he says, he has the best job in the world.
Back home, and for me, some people aspire to be in New York or Los Angeles or San Francisco. This is where I wanted to be all along. This is the town I grew up in, watching the Reds, going to Wilmington for Bengals training camp. I had my face painted for the Freezer Bowl. I was here for Pete's 4192 in the stands. I was here for 3,000 for Pete in the stands. So I say it, and I truly mean it. I have the best job in the world because I get paid to talk about the teams that I grew up with in this city. I've done it in other cities. I could do it again in other cities, but the passion and the excitement on a daily basis would never come close to matching what I feel every day when I go on the air here for 3 hours.
Meet 41-year-old Greg Shoemaker. Part of a ratings demographic, Lance dominates.
This was really good. I guess I've been listening to him for maybe 15 years, and my career kind of coincided with his career. I moved back to Cincinnati about the same time he moved back, so for me, it was like a familiar voice now in a place where it was unfamiliar to me, and it was kind of neat. It's kind of like I had grown with sports radio with Lance. As he grew, I grew, and I still like what he does to this day.
Lance reaches people in their cars, their offices, and in front of their computers. Making the listener feel welcome is what keeps them coming back. Tuning in anytime, any day is a big part of Lance's approach to the show.
It's his personality, his ability to connect with the listener, like he's a guy you can sit down with. Like, it's almost like I know the guy.
With more people, just like Lee and Greg, tuning in at record rates, Clear Channel recently decided to amp up Homer's signal from 5,000 to 50,000 watts.
It's almost a validation. Not that you were minor leagues promoted to the major leagues, but it was almost a sign that, and confirmation that the job this station was doing merited a bigger blowtorch, so to speak. We had done what we did at 5,000 watts, and the ratings were there, and we continued to grow this station to the point where I think Clear Channel realized, hey, we need to give them a bigger stage to play on. And it's been tremendous. I mean, I get the biggest kick out of it. My dad will be driving around in Myrtle Beach listening to us on the radio. My mom in Indianapolis will be listening to me on the radio. It doesn't really change my show in terms of content. I'm not going to, program towards the East Coast and talk Jets or program South and talk Falcons. But it just is more or less confirmation that, hey, what you guys were doing was at a level that we need to put you at a bigger level and a bigger stage, and they have.
Which says a lot for the radio station itself. I mean, making the jump to 50,000 that it is like talk radio is drawing a bigger crowd, much bigger crowd apparently, because when you make a jump like that, it just shows how much growth is actually coming on right now with the talk radio.
Lance steers the ship, but it's the day-to-day callers that make the show special.
Sports talk these days and over the years has given fans the chance to get in the game. Before, years past, even the Trumpy days, it was more of Trumpy telling you the way it was and you listening. As sports and the landscape has changed, sports talk radio has given the fan the chance to jump in, have their voice heard, to complain about this or that, to praise this or that, to say we, or if they want to become involved to the next level. And I don't want to say they feel like they matter more, but I think to a certain extent they do. It's like you've been called in off the sidelines, and now you're in the game. Your voice and your phone call carries the same weight as anybody else. So let your voice be heard, and there's somebody like me on the other side who's going to hear it, along with hopefully a large number of listeners who are going to react one way or another. But it's almost like sports fans matter a great deal more than they used to, and they're a lot more involved. The
fact that I can get the news when I want, it's kind of old school for me. Yeah, I can go to the internet and I can get stories and I can get all my stats that way. But for me, just to get the information out in a quick, timely manner, I'm in the car all the time, or I'm at the office. All I have to do is turn on the radio. If I'm even out mowing grass, I put on headphones, and I started listening to Lance in the afternoon. I often, honestly, during the summer, I have this little thing that I do where I go out and mow grass at 4:30, and I listen to a certain segment every Thursday, and that's my time.
The industry is changing so much, you have to try to stay ahead of the curve. And I've tried to, and how I've had my eyes opened up to blogging and podcasting and everything else, and the ability to give people stuff that's not confined to 3 hours, the ability, if they want to look at my blog in the middle of the night if something has happened or if an agent is called. It's a matter of being able to service people 24 hours a day. There's so many, whether it's websites or TV or whether it's TiVo and they're watching it at a different time, they can get it, boom, boom. I mean, it used to be so limited in how you could get it and when you could get it. Now you've got to be the one who can say, you can get it from me whenever you need it from me. And it's the people who do that, or who are the people who are kind of riding the wave ahead of everybody. Everybody else is going to get left behind. If you're not on that wave, then you're yesterday's news.
From in your car to on demand, traditional radio has forever changed. But as long as there are Bengals, Reds, Bearcats, and Buckeyes, there'll be fans that want to talk about them. And more importantly, fans that want to listen. Sports talk is here to stay.